and the whole responsibility of bringing Christianity into Ireland, but in reality there was a great many different priests. St. Patrick was a shepherd in the Antrim Hills and left Ireland, went back to either Wales or France. No one even knows where he originally came from. And he came back to spread the word of Christianity. And of course he met the pagan people who were worshipping the sun. And the story goes he lit the fire on the top of the great hill of Slane, very near the big passage tomb of Newgrange. 3 or 4 passage tombs have been discovered there. And the Druids lighting the fire there came across to St. Patrick, who was lighting his fire for the coming of Easter, the pastoral fire. Put out that fire and get away with you. I will not, said St. Patrick. And he persisted so much in relighting the fire that in the end the Druids said, go on, so you can do what you have to do. And of course many priests came, spread the word of Christianity, and took many of the pagan worshipping places like the wells, which were always sacred places, and just made them holy Christian wells. The County Cross, I'll be telling you a little bit more about that when we get into Glendalough. And St. Kevin was an Irishman who saw the lakes at Glendalough and thought, well, this is the place for me. And he prayed at the lake, and of course a monastery grew up around him. The time of the monastic settlements in Ireland stretched really from the 9th into the 10th century, was at its height. And the monks were in the centre. This is where we're going now, and the lay people all around. And really it was over by the 12th century. The Anglo-Normans arrived in. The Dominicans, the Franciscans, the Cistercians began to come, and everything changed. And by the 1500s, the English King Henry VIII, the Protestant Reformation, burnt all the monasteries in Ireland, England, Scotland and Wales. So there is ruins, and a great majority of them in Ireland, and one of the most famous in Europe is where we are going now, Glendalough, because the ruins of the churches are still there, the round tower, the graves, and I will take you around and show you that. So that is really what happened. It was all over by the 1500s, and it lay idle, Glendalough, right into the end of the 1800s, and then people began to be interested in it again. So it was a local place, a place of burial for the local people for around 500 years. So a lot of conjecture when it began to become a famous place of pilgrimage again. Now we're coming into the tiny village of Animo, and I suppose a little bit of understanding how not only in days gone by, but now a lot of famous people hide out in the Wicklow Hills. One of the most famous is the great actor Daniel Day-Lewis, who lives here in Animo, as does John Boorman, the great English film director. He made Excalibur. Daniel Day-Lewis has been in a lot of Irish films. Christy Brown, about the great artist and writer who had cerebral palsy in a wheelchair. Daniel